It is 6:03 p.m. We will call to order the
In March.
Type A EDC special meeting. Call to order. Item number B, citizens forum. I see we have nobody citizens. Item number C, regular agenda, discuss an introduction of a candidate for the Type A EDC jury.
Here's the process that we went through. We put this out for 4, maybe 5 weeks, I guess. We got, I think, a total of about 25 applicants and resumes. We started going through those, and of course, the biggest number of them, well, I say biggest number, probably an easy 12, 13 had zero qualifications in local government, let alone economic development or any type of development. So we tossed those right away. We did have a few, though, that had some experience in various parts of local government, whether it be planning, development issues or opportunities. We had some that had marketing degrees. We interviewed one that had a master's in marketing. And we had one that did have some economic development experience that we talked to twice. But we moved away from her after the final interview. And I'll tell you that the final interviews that we did multiples with a few of the people. The final one we asked Molly to come in, set in, ask questions. Actually, she did most of the questions, asking and getting a feel for where people were and how that would work. And what we kind of figured out was the person who had some experience. She was from out of state, from Colorado. Very, very pleasant lady. We just couldn't get her to answer the question. So we asked it a couple of different ways, and then we brought Molly in to ask it. And she said a lot when we asked a question, but she just didn't answer much. And kind of what we decided is she's probably a person who would do well with someone over her directing her activities. She had several years with another city up around the Denver area. She's moved to Burleson recently, so I mean she's here. But we just didn't feel like it was a good fit because we just couldn't get her to talk about her experience in development, only about a few projects that they had worked on. So what I asked Molly to do when Molly came in was, because the one that we were leaning most towards was Nora, and Nora has a history with the city. We hired her here 4 years ago to help in planning. She spent 10 years or so with the city of Cleveland in planning and development. And she and Aaron worked very closely together. And when Molly came on board, she worked very closely with them. So she is in the know on a lot of the current development that we have in the city. Some of the stuff that's ongoing, some stuff now that's actually moving forward, McDonald's, Taco Bell, a lot of the stuff, she was involved in some of those things too. And she's helped us with zoning map issues. We've done some work there even recently, fixing to make some changes. And we felt like with her degree in bachelor's degree in international business, her history with the city, her history with Cleveland, her skill set with Excel, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and some other things, we felt like that she would be probably actually a little better along in the process than Nora was when we hired, or Molly was when we hired her. Molly, as you recall, came from Keene, started out working in the city manager's office as assistant to the city manager. Then she took over development services. Then she moved into economic development, really liked economic development, and really started focusing on that. And she she did very well. She's very driven. Um, I asked Molly after she had a chance, probably spend about an hour and a half with both persons during the interview, who her choice would be if she had to make a choice out of those two. She also was, I had her review a few of the applicants also as we were weeding them out, going through the process. She helped with some of that also. Crowley was very giving of her time, as we were told she would be. We felt like that she would be a really good fit for us moving forward. And she didn't feel like she could spend a lot of time with the other person. And I get that. But she did feel like, and she has agreed to kind of take Nora under her wing, introduce her to the contacts and people she met from here. She said that Molly, or that she can shadow her just about any day. I received a phone call from the city manager in Joshua. Probably the following week, I guess Molly had mentioned to her that she had helped with the interviews and might be helping do some work with her there and help her along. Lori assured me that she had told Molly she could absolutely do that and help with that, and they're happy to help with that. And then rubbed in my nose that Molly's already got them Whataburger. Or at least got them to buy dirt. So, which I think was the whole basis of the phone call, just to rub it in my nose that she got Whataburger quicker for them than she did us. But she felt like that would be her choice. She feels like that. She also is real estate licensed, so she can be of assistance in property acquisitions, things like that. Could help us research properties to purchase and things. So I think that she probably comes in the door with a few more feet than Molly had when she got here. And the fact that I think that we try not to lean on Molly too much, but when we've had some things that she's been involved with, she's been very quick to come and help us. And I think that would continue. We've checked some schedules. There are some educational opportunities for the basic Texas EDC course that's coming up. That we already have those dates. And so Nora does have some small children. Obviously Boston is in school, and the youngest one that's supposed to still be a baby and is not will be starting very shortly. Yeah, so I can't believe that kid's that old, but I believe that probably I don't have any doubt that out of the selections that we had, the people that we talked to, the people that we looked at, I think she will be a very good addition to the staff here. She's already known. She comes to us with some institutional knowledge already. She's learned how to deal with Robbie Rumsfeld, and that's a home run in anyone's book. But I did tell you guys that we would have a chance for y'all to get to meet her and talk to her a little bit. And although, questions are certainly fine, I do want to explain to everybody the interviews have already happened. And so I don't want to revisit that. But I do want y'all to get a sense of comfort with her. The I don't believe that this selection is going to slow us down any. The educational stuff is going to come over the next few months as she starts to get her feet wet, and I think that she will be a very good full-time addition to the team. She's been with us, like I say, working contract for 4 years. So Nora, if you'd like to take a few minutes and maybe who you are, I'm sure most of y'all have probably met her. I assume it.
I think I've met any of you.
Oh, you haven't? Where have you been?
Like the map that I am here, so. But he has spoken very highly of me. Thank you.
What about the P and Z? Do you know some of them?
No.
You've not taken her around and introduced her to anybody, huh?
I think you've been to one Pansy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you'll get to know these folks very well.
So, I have two small.
I'm going to interrupt you one more time too. Johnny, don't hold it against her husband's a fireman.
He
Does
is,
he have a mustache?
he does have a mustache. The poster board, he was actually on poster for Arlington County. But he works for Arlington, I have a 10-year-old boy and a 3-year-old baby girl. That will grow to be a girl, so it'd be fun. I started with you guys doing consulting work for me. I had Boston, and once the baby came, I was able to work from home and come in, you know, when needed to meet with developers. So I do run most of the development review meetings that we have with developers. So I have gotten to know, I mean, everyone that has applied for any type of development with the city. I have a great relationship with Jay Sudd.
That was kind of my first.
Forgot about that.
Dana and Nan for, gosh, I would say at least 15 years or so. I got to know them when I was in Cleburne, and then here I've gotten to work with them a little bit more just because we do have a big relationship here than we did in Cleburne. Tyler Miles that also works there. I have a history back with him. He played on my indoor team, so I know them, and I have a friendship relationship, you know, and then we have our business relationship. Who else do I have a few friends who work for Encore that are fairly high up. And then United Co-op, I know a couple of the guys that we work with close there. What else do you want to know about me?
I will tell you, I have a little story about when Nora first started working with us, we were going back and forth and losing our minds with Jay said over Burger King. Some of you guys might remember this, over the landscaping. Because part of the landscaping was going to be over where their easement for a sewer line was. Even though it's 12 feet in the ground, for some reason, shrubs were a problem and they wouldn't approve the landscaping plan. And it was driving the Burger King people crazy. It was driving us crazy. We had met and met and met. We were blue in the face. I think the first day she was in here, we were talking about it and she said, oh, you know, I know Dana. And I remember telling Aaron, let her take a crack at it, can't hurt. And 10 minutes later, the problem was solved. They signed off on everything and they were able to put the landscaping. That's all they needed to finish. I mean, it was getting with her and I've known Dana for years and Dana and I've never had a cross word. We've worked well together. But when she called her, I don't know what she said. I don't know if you got something on her. I really don't know what happened, but I mean, it ended very quickly and so, and we've put her into that a few times and she's been able to, and as I know you guys are aware, I mean, arguably the dealings with Jason have historically been difficult for development and I don't think it's any different from us in any other areas developing. There's some difficult things to overcome and some expense and they're not the friendliest people to deal with. And we have a good relationship. I can't imagine if they disliked you, how difficult they could be. But that is something she brings to the table is that she has a relationship with them already and they're a factor in any development, no matter how big or small, whether it's residential or commercial, they are a factor. And so that speaks volumes that we've got somebody that's already familiar with that and can help navigate those waters. Because we oftentimes do spend time helping kind of walk them through the process. They all say they've been there and talked to them. And if they don't complain, we know they haven't. And then a couple months later, they'll come back and say, well, what's going here? We're having this problem here. And that's how we know they've been there. And so their problems are their processes are, they're kind of difficult, more so than others, but they have been a problem. And this is something that I think that will help that area too, going forward.
We both understand each other's rules, regulations, and can think outside the box to help resolve the problem. Like that issue, it was those water lines and they couldn't have plants that had deep roots. So we figured out, I think we ended up with the crepe myrtle, which fit the book for ours and still, met their requirements. And they said, okay, well, we can work with that. Really, I think it's more working and understanding each other's rules and regulations when it's to case study and kind of letting them talk and giving them their, their space and letting them vent to you, but then also kind of, okay, what can we do to make it work? That's Jason.
And that's a lot of what I really commend Molly on what I think helped her to be as successful as she was, is the relationship. I mean, there's definitely the technical aspect of the EDC process and understanding the regulations, but a lot of what made her successful is her ability to build a relationship with developers, with other resources in other cities, because she would collaborate with them on things. And so, I'm glad that Crowley is, allowing her the ability to continue to help over here, because we definitely benefit from a positive relationship with those surrounding cities whenever we're looking at things that are considering to come in and understanding what development they may have that could impact, regional boundaries or whatever. So, but the relationship building, I feel like, is something that she really, really did well. She's just the most likable person that she.
It's never been a stranger.
She didn't.
I'll say that about her.
She didn't, but, I do know that Jason was definitely one of the more challenging aspects for her. I have a lot of personal history with them. Both of my parents worked there for decades, and my dad's on the board, and so I I definitely have a lot of understanding of that side of the table and understand how difficult they have. So I'm glad to hear that they're not going to run anyone off at the first get go. No.
Where'd you go?
I went to Arlington University of Texas and Collins. Yes, yes,
We're good then.
oh, the grades aren't showing, but the age is there. Yes, I left a few years to go there. I grew up in Cleburne. I was born in Granbury, grew up in Cleburne, left to go to college for a little bit, came back, and I've been around here. I live in Cleburne now. It's about an 18-minute drive.
Cleaver's gotta have people too. We get it.
Yeah, I think that was one of the other things that I was concerned with whenever the other candidates were talking about coming in from other states. I'm like, is this just a foot in the door to get you where you want to be geographically, and then they're not going to stay long. So glad that this is already where you kind of have your roots.
I'm not a type of person that likes to jump around jobs. I have had a handful of jobs my entire life. I've been probably counting one hand.
You're not that old.
But yes,
Yeah.
How many could you have had?
So you've obviously been around for quite a while. You know the city pretty well. What are your biggest concerns coming into this role? What are you worried about?
my biggest concern would probably be the marketing side, which is what I asked Molly about and would really want to kind of shadow her and follow and learn from her. The development side, I'm very confident about and helping guide developer in the entire process from filling out the application. Helps upfront, taking applications, so I can guide all of that part. It's more of the marketing side of it that.
Do you feel like you got everything you need to get a handle? You're so comfortable?
I feel like I do. There's some trainings that Mike and Molly have both spoke about, and I'm excited to go to. I feel like I love to talk to people, I love to meet people, and I feel like this position would be a good fit for me. And I'm excited to learn.
One big question, and especially about taking over a new position like this, since you've been around, have you, I don't know, thought about something that you wished we had done, or maybe some low hanging fruit out there, or something we can get a hold of pretty quickly to make things happen?
It's your water.
I don't think you need a grocery store. More than Brookshire. Is Brookshire all that you guys, I feel like that's all you really have. Yeah.
Yeah, that, the marketing analysis that we've done over the years.
Else to give them competition to, because I've gone in there to pick up a few things on my way home, and those prices, I mean, obviously prices.
For
I'll be back on the bill, let me back in, let me do another hour. No, I feel like something like that to help provide some of the competition to provide, just your basic needs for your citizens.
So there's Brookshire's in this, got dollar. Yes.
Yes.
and dollar everything else. We're the dollar capital, taco capital of North Texas, I swear. In our recent gap analysis that we did just before Molly left, the data did lend support to a second. It's something that they believe the population could sustain.
I assume that would be on the west side of town here.
I don't know that it's big enough that it really matters, but it did mention, it talked about other areas where it could go. There's only a few parcels really that, of course, all of them are going to want to be on the main drag, as you know. One of the areas that I think the biggest recommendation came, that's the property that's next door to the Motel 6, the vacant lot there at the corner of 174 and Cooper. Is that Cooper? It may be, I don't know if it's Cooper. It's McMillan, that's it. That one is one of the places they've showed that a grocery store would be able to go there. They talked about something like the Walmart market, like that's on John Jones in Burleson. Not obviously not a Walmart supercenter, but that's the type of grocery store.
Neighborhood store.
Right. It's like a neighborhood market, or I don't know what they call it. But I'll go there. I won't go to Walmart, the big one, for any reason. You couldn't drag me in there kicking and screaming, but one of the other things too, the memberships that we had, that Molly had in the circles were some of the economic development groups that she was in. Those memberships are city memberships, so we still have those. I think we've renewed a couple of them even since she's left. So we still have that stuff and would continue those. And those are the places that she would be obviously taking her to. And the bulk of it is marketing stuff. The Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce, she was big in going to those things. She'd go to a lot of developer stuff. She played golf and a lot of, she met a lot of people just doing extra, activities after hours that she did, and met a lot of people. And I'm not saying you gotta buy a set of golf clubs. Those are just, there you go. You will need to learn how to shoot a shotgun.
Software that I just subscribe to that.
We just renewed that, I believe, didn't we?
I've got it on my desk to renew. Well, it renews in July, but they just sent us the stuff to do it. It's a marketing data analysis stuff where you can pull up comps and
I think that was something that, when we talked about it last time, we're interested in just kind of getting some feedback, and I don't know if that's maybe something that Molly has ever, but did we get any value out of it?
I think we did because we can pull up geographic, it does leakage analysis that tells us where we're losing business to, retail sales to, other areas. It gives us just a lot of market data driven, and a lot of the stuff that people look for, what the population of our trade area is, and populations here. It gives us various demographics of, you can just about get anything out of it. And we still have that. We're still a member. That's the one actually I think we're fixing to renew. There's a training aspect to it so that we can bring her on board. They'll show her how to navigate that, and Molly can too, show her how to work all that, how to pull up data and information out of it.
I recommend it for everybody. Something.
I know that's the biggest thing. And Molly also, going back to run builds, because I do appreciate the time and energy that they put into our downtown, and, that was something that Molly tried to work with. I mean, granted, they have their vision, but they did collaborate with Molly, and her vision was as well, try to figure out how to put those two things together, but it's definitely some growth in downtown. Hopefully they'll continue to invest there, so. And then, with our chamber also.
Yeah, right now, the Molly did do some stuff initially with the chamber, and then things kind of, I think, picked up in a few areas, and she kind of pulled back, and they needed a little more help really than what she could do. Amber kind of took over, filled in that role, and got on the board, and a few other things, had a little more time to devote to it, I think. That is a role that we would, the mayor very strongly wants city representation on that board. Actually, they want to come and talk to y'all at the next meeting about, they've got their house kind of back in order, all the IRS stuff. I think those things are resolved. The 501c3 issues are resolved. They've been in kind of a process of rebuilding and catching up, and have been pretty active in the community. And so they wanted to come back. I told them that before, that we would reinstate the funding that was done through TAP. They would need to come before this board and make that request. I wasn't going to carry their water for them, nor was Amber. So they've asked about that date, and we're going to discuss that in a bit to kind of get some ideas from you. Once we get through here, we'll kind of see what y'all want to do, but they're ready and have sent the paperwork in that they're ready to have that conversation. But that would be one of the things that she would do is, we would get her involved. Whether or not they would put her on the board, I don't know that really matters. We don't require that. The mayor's always been an ex officio. Scott is not really much involved with them. And we've had a few, I was on it for a long time, but they've got a lot of us were on it just out of default because it was just not a whole lot. They've got a pretty active board now that I think is fine. I don't know that she necessarily needs to be in a board position, but yeah, the chamber has a role here. And I think, and we need, especially the fact that we're providing funding for them, we want to make sure that that funding is being spent appropriately, and that we're getting the bang out for the buck that we can get.
Any other questions?
I have a chessboard that has policemen on one side and firemen on the other.
I believe that.
Same side.
Aren't you,
Do you line them up on the same side? Or do you?
aren't you glad Paul went the police route, not the fireman's route? That made Thanksgiving interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I had a nephew went into narcotics and I told him whether he'd be working in a poorhouse, but
Bet his wife wouldn't.
And
Johnny and KJ Vera is a retired Texas Ranger. So he's an old school cop. You were back when you could kick the crap out of people and get away with it. You can't do that anymore. I've seen some pictures of him. One of them was, I don't remember where I saw the picture, but I remember seeing it somewhere. Maybe it was on a Facebook or something. Somebody posted about you. And there was a car laid over on its side and you could see it was a pursuit. This one is up on the side of the car and he's got a hold of the guy from around by his neck, pulling him out of the car, not helping him out now, being in a wreck. He's no fireman. He was dragging. I looked at that. I think it was when you were a trooper then. I think you were DPS. And I looked at that and I thought, that sounds exactly.
good day.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in.
Great. I have a question for you. What is your Walmart? I mean, what is your Whataburger? I gotta talk about. With that. Yes.
Taco Bell is my stress food, so I'm glad I didn't have to go to Burleson. I work from home, so.
Gross.
What? Grunt.
something similar, it doesn't have to be that, but that's what, I think there's a gap there.
I just want to keep my wife from driving to Burleson to shop. I mean, that's-
So do we.
It's just crazy, and she is, we've lived in so many different states, so many different cities, and one of the aspects of her deciding where to live is how much retail's around. I'm trying my best, that's why I'm here, just to try to fix it.
For me, I'm rather extreme, unorthodox views. I prefer a real radical localism. If I could wave a magic wand, I would have no international corporations coming in the community, and everything would be owned and operated by locals. So that's what I want.
Mom and pop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I wish you luck. It's gonna be a lot of hard work.
it's big shoes to fill, but I am willing to try and fill them for you guys. Move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brittany will be in touch,
Okay, my bad.
unless you just want to hang around. The question I have for you guys, is this month's meeting, which would have been next
Monday.
Monday. We were hoping to fill with this. Because at the time when we set up, there was nothing else that would really to bring y'all back in for. However, when the chamber turned in all that stuff today, I don't have an issue with doing that. My question is I would need to do it either a little before or a little after 6 o'clock, because we've scheduled a special call meeting for the council at 6 to take up a time pressing issue with the water district to answer some questions and to talk about a few things. Do you have a preference? Would you prefer to put it off until next month, or would you prefer to go ahead and do a short meeting Monday and take up the issue with the chamber?
Is there any pressing need that it has to be done right away?
Other than I think they are just wanting to get it started. I mean, I don't know that there's any financial pressing matter for them. I mean,
I could be here next month.
I'm not aware of one. And like I say, it can be at a little earlier than 6, it can be a little, I think, I don't see the council meeting taking more than an hour, quite honestly. But if y'all wanted to, and I don't see this matter taking much more than that either. So if you wanted to come in at 5:30, I'm sure we could do it and be done by 6. If you wanted to come at a little later or earlier in the day, I mean, I care not. It matters not to me. It's really up to y'all. And I don't mind putting it off if that's what y'all want to do. I'm happy to do that too.
And I did send it to the city attorney to review. Because it has not reviewed.
Their request
Um,
or the
the
agreement.
agreement.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, there's an agreement that we updated that would have been needed to be updated and that set some parameters, some requirements, things they have to provide, reporting they have to do. We've tightened up all of that so that we can stay on top of, or I think quarterly visits. They come in here and visit with y'all quarterly about things. The chamber, like I say, they've come a long way. Their last few quarterly luncheons have been very well attended. They seem to be doing pretty well. They're fixing to do a spring on Main event in a couple of weeks down here. So they're back active. They're in the community. They're working, but they would like to get to a point to bring back, I think, probably a part-time chamber president to handle all the day-to-day stuff that between Brandy at Pinnacle Bank is the chairman of that board now. And her boss, Kevin Lee, desperately wants her to wrap up her tenure because he needs her back at the bank and she is putting in a lot of time. So that would be the only pressing part of it is to get that up and going again. But like I say, Monday, we wouldn't have filled the time slot had I didn't know it was coming. So it's up to y'all. However y'all want me to handle it, I will.
I'll make it happen with this family.
No preferences.
I'm gonna be here for the council meeting. I'll be here anyway.
Anytime's fine. Okay.
Before or after?
Probably better get before, because sometimes y'all get long-winded.
Y'all,
We can do 4, 5, because we're not gonna have a
y'all tell me what time. I mean, honestly, I don't think it'll take more than 30 minutes.
I think do 5:30.
5:30 work, everybody?
30.
Monday.
Okay.
Okay,
We'll see if I'm here or not.
hopefully you are. It's too windy to get on there. Jeez, look. Neighbor's fence blew down.
It's
My wife got up at midnight to go. We've got a canvas shade that sits over the pool pump and stuff. And I guess it blew loose and was banging on her. I didn't hear it, but she was up at midnight taking that thing down. I like to have a fit when she told me she got up at midnight, went, took that down, didn't get me up.
Any other items for me, Jane? 6:42, we will.